Is it just me, or does it seem like Oda's pen consumed a mythical zone fruit ever since Wano ended? Literally every chapter since the 1 month hiatus has been pretty spectacular. Sure, there are some more spectacular chapters than others, but for the most part, each one has been a banger. I'm talking from chapter 1054 to chapter 1067. 1054 being Flame Emperor and 1067 being Punk Records. As of the recording of this video, that is the most recent chapter that has come out. I decided I should do a post-hiatus tier list and rank all 14 chapters from greatest to least greatest. This list will solely comprise of the 14 chapters that were released after Oda's 1 month hiatus, which again, I'm convinced that during this break, Oda's pen ate some kind of flame god fruit, because every chapter has been absolute fire. We will be going in order from 1054 all the way to 1067. Here are the rules. The rankings will be S tier, A tier, and B tier. Since honestly, there were no bad chapters in my opinion. In order to qualify for S rank, the majority of the chapter has to be amazing. It has to be a fantastic chapter. If not perfect, then very close to it. That is my qualification for S rank. For A rank, some of the chapter has to be amazing. At least a portion of it. And then the majority or half the chapter was just good or solid. So it wasn't overall fantastic, but it maybe had one fantastic moment that really put it over the top. And then B rank will be a chapter that is overall good, overall solid, but could have been better, in my opinion. All of this is, of course, my opinion, right? If you enjoy this type of content, please be sure to like the video and subscribe. Now, let's begin. So chapter 1054, Flame Emperor. This chapter was the return of One Piece after a 1 month hiatus, and it did not disappoint. We get Admiral Green Bull showing what he can do with his Loja Forest Fruit. We also get the reveal that Shanks is near Wano, and he is up to date with Luffy's current 3 billion berry bounty and Yonko status. That was revealed in the previous chapter. We also get a cool Shanks flashback of how he attained the Nico fruit. We also get an ominous moment with Shanks where he says, "It's time to claim the One Piece," to Ben Beckman. That was creepy. We then shift over to Marineford and we learn the revolutionaries technically defeated the admirals, which nobody expected, right? And they actually successfully rescued Kumo. And we also get introduced to a new admiral-like character, Black Horse, and Akainu says he's ready to retaliate on all fronts after finding out Sabo is now considered the Flame Emperor. Overall, a great comeback chapter. We get a lot of juicy stuff. I remember seeing Green Bull and Shanks and just being absolute hype, right? We will put this one in S tier for now, just because it was like the big epic comeback. I thought it was a great introduction to the, I guess the prequel to the final saga, right? Like the closure of Wano. I thought it was great. Great introduction. So we'll put 1054, we'll put it in S tier for now. Next, we got chapter 1055, The New Age. We get more action in this one. Green Bull is pummeling the Red Scabbards, especially Momo. He's just getting destroyed. We also get to see Pluton revealed by Sukiyaki, who he shows Robin-in-Law. He explains to them that Pluton is there and about the road poneglyph. We also cut back to the Green Bull fight. Momo releases a Hyper Beam Blast Breath, pretty much destroys Green Bull, but he has Fireproof Forest. And then Shanks does a long distance Conqueror's Sniper Hockey attack, which is just absolute insanity. We get an epic line from Shanks, and Green Bull runs away. And we find out the Straw Hats were watching the whole time. And I think the ending of this chapter was absolutely perfect, right? The whole Pluton thing was interesting too, and I know it's setting up for someone to attain Pluton in the near future. I think I gotta slide this one at the top of S tier. That Shanks moment. We got an awesome Green Bull battle. It's close to perfect. It's almost a perfect chapter. I gotta put it in S tier. I think I'll put it over 1054 as well. Just that whole Shanks line. Are you that afraid of the new age? Of the new era? Oh, I get chills down my spinal column. Chapter 1056, Cross Guild. So in this one, we get some closure on the Red Scabbards and Carrot. And Carrot somehow becomes the new King of Zoe because she has the will of Pedro. The will of P is strong with her. Luffy and the crew discuss Pluton for a little bit in a very epic panel. I really like that panel. Momo's freaking out because the Straw Hats never said goodbye. We cut to the Straw Hats preparing to leave Wano. Kid and Lost Crew are there as well. They also each decide to sail in a different direction, which will play a huge role later down the line, which we now know a little bit about that. And then we also get the coolest poster ever. Cross Guild is revealed. We find out that Buggy, Mihawk, and Crocodile have teamed up and formed a Yonko crew, pretty much. And then Yamato teases that she is going to join the Straw Hats, and it is the tease of the century, making it seem like she's about to run towards the Thousand Sunny and officially join the crew. And then it's to be continued. Really good chapter, but compared to 1054 and 1055, I feel like it was missing a lot. And then there were some questionable moments, like the whole Carrot becoming the King of Zoe. I thought was pretty pointless, and there was like 3 pages, I think, dedicated to this. And yeah, it just didn't have much besides the Cross Guild stuff. Like the whole Cross Guild reveal was really cool. I think this one might be controversial, but I'm gonna put it at the top of B. Well, it's the only one in B for now, but I want to say this one's like low A, high B. But we'll put it at high B for now. Maybe it'll go to A, but it's definitely not an S chapter, in my opinion. Next, chapter 1057, The Final Curtain. So in this chapter, the Straw Hats prepare to set sail. Momo, Yamato, and Kinemon charge at Luffy for leaving without saying goodbye. Momo is bawling hysterically, but Luffy has an epic surprise for him. A Straw Hat pirate flag for him to hang in Wano to show that it is Emperor Luffy's territory now, which is incredibly symbolic and awesome. Komurosaki also has one of the most controversial lines of One Piece in 2022, where it almost seemed like she learned nothing about how hatred breeds more hatred, depending on how you want to read this line from her monologue. And then at the end, all 3 crews jump off the waterfall together, signaling the end of Wano. 4 long years of real-world time, and this was finally the end. A good chapter, but for now, we will also put this one in B tier. It might even go to the bottom of B, to be honest. I think I might even put it under. This one's tough. Because I think the highlight of 1057 for me was the whole giving Momo the flag. I thought that was a very symbolic moment. But I feel like the Komurosaki stuff left a bad taste in my mouth. And then just didn't get enough in this chapter, right? At least in the last chapter, we did get the Cross Guild stuff. I don't know. I remember being more hype for 1056 than 1057. I think 1057 was just like a huge letdown because we found out that Yamato's not joining the crew. I felt like the ending of Wano, it was a mix of extremely rushed, but at the same time, I couldn't wait to leave. So it was just really hard to pull off in one chapter. And I feel like it was okay. It's pretty good, but definitely one of my least favorite chapters post-hiatus, for sure. We got chapter 1058, New Emperor. The Straw Hats are officially far away from Wano, finally, The new bounties are revealed. Everyone got some huge jumps, especially the Monster Trio and Nico Robin, who are all pretty much at 1 billion plus. We then cut to Buggy's Cross Guild with one of my all-time favorite panels of Mihawk and Crocodile toying with Buggy's life. I love that panel so much. We also get the Cross Guild origin story, which never in a million years did I expect that we would get it so soon. It is brilliant stuff. We also cut to Marine HQ and get the bounties of the Cross Guild as well. And we find out that Mihawk has a 3.6 billion berry bounty, making him the highest non-Yonko bounty in all of One Piece that we know of so far. And the chapter ends with Sabo calling Dragon on a Denden Mushi snail as Dragon was talking to the recently rescued Kuma. Epic chapter. Not much action, but the reveal and the info dumps were simply top tier. For now, I will probably put this one in S tier. Definitely S tier. Just not sure if it's more the bottom of S tier or the top or maybe the middle. That Mihawk bounty and the whole Cross Guild. Oh man, this one's tough. This one's really hard for me. And I don't want to spend too much time. I'm just going to go with my gut feeling, right? Do I prefer the Shanks hockey no-scope from hundreds of miles away? Or at least, several miles. Or the Cross Guild reveal, the Cross Guild origin story, and the Mihawk Buggy Crocodile bounties. What was cooler? There's something real special about 1055. I think I'm going to put 1055 at the top, 1058, 1054. There was something real special about the whole Shanks hockey blast. And then I love the ending where Luffy and the Straw Hats, like the Monster Trio, are like watching the fight. And they didn't want to join in because they wanted to see if they can handle themselves. And I thought that was just awesome. It's just a great ending. I think I'm going to put it, I'm going to leave 1055 at the top. Leave a comment if you disagree or you agree with my decision. Okay, next one. We got 1059. Oh man, 1059, the Captain Kobe incident. Oh boy, this was a special chapter. It starts off with Marco saying his farewell to Luffy, along with them explaining the reason Yamato is staying in Wano during a flashback. But suddenly, this flashback cuts to present-day Amazon Lily. We see Boa Hancock bandaged up, and then it cuts to another flashback within a flashback of Amazon Lily being attacked by the Marines and their new super weapons, the Seraphims, which are kid clones of previous warlords with super enhanced bodies and abilities. It is nuts. On top of all that, Blackbeard and his two commanders also show up to the island. We get some godly clashes of Blackbeard versus a Mihawk Seraphim clone robot Lunarian thing, right? And Blackbeard getting a hold of Boa Hancock and attempting to steal her fruit, while Kobe is stuck in the middle, not exactly sure what to do. We also get the reveal of Blackbeard's bounty being 3.9 billion, 3.9 billy. We learn more about the Rocky Port incident, and just as soon as Blackbeard is about to pretty much destroy Hancock, that boy, Silvers Rayleigh, shows up and saves the day off of pure clout alone. The chapter ends back in present day, and we find out that Kobe has been captured and taken hostage by Blackbeard. Holy moly, what a phenomenal chapter. Easy S. If there was a double S, triple S, I'd probably have to put it up there, to be honest. So, one of my favorite chapters of the entire year. Captain Kobe incident, definitely top of S tier. If you disagree, I don't even mind. I don't care, right? I love this chapter. One of the greatest. I love good villain chapters, and this one just caught me by surprise, and it was just had everything I could want in an awesome One Piece chapter. All right, let's go. Chapter 1060, Luffy's Dream. This chapter starts off very wholesome. We get some great Straw Hat moments sailing on their ship, as they reveal some of the world's recent events to Luffy. Luffy immediately wants to drop everything they're doing and go save Vivi, but Zoro flexes his vice captain position and tells the crew to tighten up. Luffy then tells the crew his true dream, which we the readers don't get to see. We then cut to Imu-sama using some sort of devil fruit power or ancient weapon and obliterating an entire country that Sabo was seemingly on or close to. We cut back to the Straw Hats, who are now in a winter climate during a huge storm, and it ends with Chopper and Luffy flying off the ship and rescuing none other than Jewelry Bonnie. Haven't seen her in a while. Very exciting time to be a One Piece reader, and the end of this chapter truly feels like the very beginning of a brand new arc. I'd put this chapter at the top of A tier, maybe even low S tier. That Imu-sama scene, him destroying Lulusia Island, just gave me chills. It was such an epic moment. And the Luffy stuff was awesome too. I might put this one at the top of A. We don't have any A tier. It might jump up to S tier. It could even maybe surpass 1054. I'm leading high A, low S. I'm going to leave it in the top of A for now, just because we don't have any A tiers. All right, next one. Chapter 1061, The Island of the Future. If the last chapter ended teasing the new arc, then this chapter was episode 1 of the Egghead Island arc. Right off the bat, we start off with a giant mecha shark attacking the Sunny. We get introduced to some new vice admirals and sword members of G14. We get formally reintroduced to Bonnie. The Straw Hats get separated into 2 separate groups, as they always tend to do at the start of a new arc. And we get introduced to Dr. Vegapunk. And she's a hot young lady. Not at all what we were expecting. This chapter, when it came out, was simply mind-blowing. But most readers had a strong feeling this couldn't be the real Vegapunk. It was pretty obvious this had to be some sort of clone or android. Still hype though. I think I feel comfortable putting this chapter low A tier, right? Because we get the Vegapunk reveal, sort of. It's our first encounter with Vegapunk. And then it's a lot of fighting with the shark. I'm thinking, is it high B? Because it was a pretty good chapter. It was a pretty good chapter. So remember, just a quick reminder. So S tier are chapters that were overall amazing. S tier. A tier are chapters that had some great moments, but were overall good or solid chapters. Overall, they were good, but they had 1 or 2 awesome moments that you got to put them in A tier. And then B are chapters that were really good or solid, but they could have been a little better, right? I don't know, 1061, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to put it at A tier, but it could go down to the top of B tier. Because not a whole lot happened, but it was still hype. Seeing Vegapunk, even though we knew she was a clone, it was still hype. We'll put it at the bottom of A. Might go down to B, but we'll see how it plays out. Okay, next one. Chapter 1062, Adventure in the Land of Science. It begins with the Straw Hats getting picked up on Dr. Vegapunk's giant robot. I'm going to call Vegapunk VP for short. So VP threatens to steal from them and leave them stranded, and has no problem using an army of robotic sea monsters to defeat them, to defeat the Straw Hats. But she is warned by another voice who goes by Vegapunk01 Shaka, and he tells her that she should not underestimate the Straw Hats. And we have an epic Zoro and Robin hype moment, right? And at this point, our multiple VP theory is confirmed. We learned that Bonnie is also Kuma's daughter. We knew they had some relation, but we were never fully sure. Luffy and his squad enter the land of science, and we see all sorts of futuristic inventions, including another Vegapunk named Wrath Atlas. And it ends with Rob Lucci, CP0 approaching Egghead Island, and they also got Akuma Seraphim with them. This chapter was so sick. Mostly a ton of high-level info dumps and dialogue with a lot of setup for this new arc. And I very much enjoyed it. I put it a little higher than the last chapter, right? I think I put it a step above, definitely, for, introducing us to the land of science. I'll put it at A tier. Maybe, is it over 1060? No, Lelucia Island. 1060 is Lelucia Island. Alright, we'll put it right here for now. It could maybe surpass 1060. I don't know. We'll leave it there for now. Next chapter, 1063. Next chapter, 1063. The Only Family I Got. The Straw Hats get some new fits, and we get introduced to RoboCop Kuma. He's attempting to destroy Luffy's squad for taking the clothes without payment, but when Luffy goes to attack RoboCop Kuma, Bonnie kicks Luffy in the face and is about to get them all blasted into smithereens. Bonnie then ugly cries and says, "Please don't hurt my daddy!" And we get one of the ugliest cries in all of One Piece. And we then get the most epic scene transition ever. As Kuma shoots his laser beam, it cuts to a faraway sea battle happening in the New World. Law versus Blackbeard. Somehow, Law is a woman at first, but confirms to us that a strong pouring out of one's haki is enough to nullify devil fruit abilities. We also get confirmation on some new devil fruits held by the Blackbeard pirates. A mythical Pegasus fruit, a warp fruit, the Sick fruit, the buff fruit, everything. It's crazy. Adding even more danger and intrigue to the Blackbeard crew. It ends with BB and Law locking eyes and about to clash. This chapter was absolutely nuts. I lost my mind in the second half. The first half, I didn't care for as much. I felt like the Bonnie stuff didn't quite hit all that well with me. I didn't really enjoy that part as much. But still, for that ending that was just godly, I have to put this chapter in A tier. Maybe even around the top, to be honest, because getting that surprise of Law versus the Blackbeard pirates, something that nobody saw coming. I think I gotta put this one in A tier. I was so freaking hype when this chapter came out. When I got to those last pages, I was freaking out. So I'm gonna put it at the top of A. I got to. Chapter 1064, Egghead's Research Stratum. In a million years, I never imagined we would actually see the fight between Blackbeard and Law play out. I was shocked. I thought we were going to get this in a flashback 20 chapters from now, but nope. We got it right now, baby, and I'm freaking out. Right off the bat, I'm losing my mind. We learn more about Blackbeard's crew's fruit powers, along with learning that Law's crew are actually pretty beastly when it comes to sea battles. We then get some absolutely epic attacks and clashes between Blackbeard and Law. Looks like they both have some Conqueror's haki pouring out, maybe. And we also get confirmation that Pudding is alive and inside Blackbeard's ship as a prisoner. We then come back to Luffy's squad, and they're all different ages, and it turns out Vegapunk Lilith ended up helping the other Straw Hats up to Egghead Island's roof, and they also get some new outfits. It ends with Vegapunk 01 calling out Monkey D. Dragon's name, confirming that they have some type of connection. Excellent chapter, to say the least, right? That Blackbeard versus Law stuff was simply top tier. And yeah, man, it was just too good, right? I don't know if I could put it at the top of S tier because the last portion was cool, right? Like the Straw Hats got some new outfits. They're moving the plot along, right? Yeah, this one's tough. I don't know if I can put it over 1059, but it's up there. Dang, I don't know. This one's tricky. I just feel like if the whole chapter would have been the fight, easily top of S tier. But since it was just like half the chapter, and then the other half was, back to the Straw Hats, So crazy that the best chapters are always the one that don't have the Straw Hats. And I love the Straw Hats, right? They're like family at this point. But it's so funny that the best chapters don't have much of the Straw Hats. But this one had like more implications. We got introduced to the Seraphim. If it's not number 2, it's number 1. But I'm going to put the Captain Kobe incident, 1059. I think I'm going to put it above 1064. Let's go to 1065. The 6 Faces of Vegapunk. We get Seraphim Jinbei versus the Straw Hats. It is an epic battle and shows how much the Straw Hats have improved, being able to hold their own against the government's top secret super weapons. We also learn that it has possibly multiple Devil Fruit powers at its disposal. We also meet all of the other paths of Vegapunk, and the chapter ends with the Straw Hats being told that all the advanced technology that they are currently seeing is actually from ancient times. We then cut to Luffy and his squad encountering a giant, super advanced ancient robot. I love this chapter, right? I feel like it definitely belongs in either low S tier or the very top of A tier for just being so consistently entertaining and providing us with a ton of new info, setups, and revelations. Yeah, I might just have to move some stuff around because I think I actually, overall, I think it is a more entertaining chapter than 1054. Because 1054, we just got the Green Bull reveal pretty much. Like we got Green Bull fighting the Red Scabbards, and then it ends with like a little Shanks teaser. I think we're gonna move some stuff around. NANI? We're gonna move 1054 down to A tier. We're gonna move 1061 down to B tier. And then we're gonna put 1065 at the bottom of S tier. Maybe we'll put it at the top of A. It might go to S tier, but I just feel like there's one of these two might just join S tier. Let's see what happens. Next one, 1066, The Will of Ohara. We get one of the greatest info dump chapters of all time, along with more revelations. Shaka tells the Straw Hats about the aftermath of the Ohara incident, and we get to see that Vegapunk and Monkey D. Dragon are linked and share a similar goal. We also see the real Vegapunk for the first time. His head is absolutely massive, and Dragon doesn't have his face tattoo, but he does have the same markings on a wrap around his leg, meaning that it must symbolize something very important. We also find out that the books from Ohara survived the Buster Call, and they were taken by the giants of Elbath, along with confirmation that Jaguar D's soul survived as well, which some people weren't too happy about, but I didn't mind, personally. And it ends with the present-day true Vegapunk finally making his appearance after warping out of the giant robot. He looks just like Albert Einstein. I enjoyed this chapter. We got some great info. The whole Ohara aftermath stuff was really cool. I love that we got to see Dragon, and we got to see how he became, a little bit about how he became the man he is today. So 1066, I feel like it's like a middle of A. It's definitely A tier. I'm just having trouble deciding where to put this. And now this 1063 seems a little low. And now 1054 doesn't even seem that epic compared to some of these. I might even move some of these down. I think 1065 is probably my favorite Straw Hat chapter because I love that they held their own against the Jinbei Seraphim. I love that scene. And I love that we got like all the other Vegapunks and stuff like that. 1063's amazing. Just for that law stuff, right? 1066 has the amazing Ohara Aftermath. 1054, Green Bull battle. This one's the tricky one. I don't know where to put this. I think it went from S tier to like middle of A, low A, mid A. Luffy's Dream, 1062. Put these at the top of B. Okay, whatever. 1067. Let's just finish this list off. 1067, Punk Records. Vegapunk confirms he ate the brain fruit, allowing him to perfectly memorize an unlimited amount of information, which is perfect for a born genius such as himself. Along with that info, we learned that he divided parts of his brain among the 6 paths of Vegapunk and has his main brain inside of the top half of Egghead Island. And thanks to the special device, he can send and receive brainwave signals through it. We also learned that Bonnie is horrified of bugs, and we see her pass out thanks to some beetles. And we also learned that Momo's fruit wasn't a failure. It just turned out his dragon was pink instead of blue. So, Vegapunk is a perfectionist because he thought that was a failure. We also learned that the giant super robot attacks from 200 years ago were a thing, right? Like, nobody knew that. Nobody knew that giant robots attacked Marie Joie 200 years ago. And Rob Lucci, CP0 have arrived at Egghead Island with their Kuma Seraphim, and Vegapunk is ready for a fight. Vegapunk also tells Luffy that he wishes to escape Egghead Island with the Straw Hats, most likely to meet with Dragon. Overall, great chapter. I'm feeling like right in the middle of A tier somewhere. We learn a lot about present-day Vegapunk, and the story moves along with the Rob Lucci stuff sooner than I expected. So maybe middle of A, low A, right? We learn more about Vegapunk, the whole brain fruit. A little bit more about the past. This one's tough. This one's a tough one to rank. Thinking A tier somewhere. Maybe like low A, actually. Because I feel like we got the Vegapunk reveal here in 1066. 1067, we just got a little bit more info on him. But it's stuff that we pretty much could have theorized and assumed on our own. I did like that Rob Lucci made it to Egghead already, which just shows how fast the pacing is in this arc, which I love. Well, it's like bittersweet, right? Because it means that One Piece is ending soon, but it's sick that we're just getting such awesome chapters every single week. Just look at this list. It's like, the lowest is B tier. It's pretty nuts, right? All right, so I think I like the list. So let's go through it really quick. 1059. Is 1059 the greatest chapter of One Piece post hiatus? I think it might be. Let me know in the comments which one you think is the best chapter. Let me know if my rankings are, if you agree with them or if they are completely insane. I don't mind. You tell me your honest opinion. I can take it. 1059. 1064 was the battle with Law and Blackbeard where they were going crazy, right? I love that chapter so much. 1055, we got the Shanks, hockey no scope. 1058 was the Cross Guild reveal, the origin story, the bounties. Such an amazing chapter. 1065 is the battle with Jinbei, Seraphim, the Straw Hats. What else happens in 1065? We also learn about the other 6 paths of Vegapunk. I love this chapter. It's a very good chapter. Very solid. 1063, that's the one that started off kind of mid with the Bonnie crying about her daddy stuff, but then it ends with the Law Blackbeard, introduction. So this one might go lower. I just love those last 3 pages so much. Like, the last 3 pages made up for the first 15 not being that great. I feel like I can't put it any lower than this, really. 1066 was amazing too. We got some good lore. 1054, the Green Bull stuff was really sick. 1054 is one that I don't know how I feel about having it this low. Like, it's either in the perfect spot or it's too low. Because I love Green Bull's reveal, but it's kind of hard to put that over some of these chapters. Yeah, we'll do it like that. Let me see. What happened in 1054 again? It's the return chapter. We get introduced to new admirals, Black Horse. We also learn about Sabo being like the new Flame Emperor. We also find out that Shanks is near Wano. We learn that Luffy has a 3 billion berry bounty. Green Bull shows up and goes absolutely ham. 1054 was pretty insane. It might even have to be an S tier, honestly. It was such a good chapter. It might be the bottom of S. I think this is the one that we gotta change some things, right? I think we're gonna go here. We're gonna go bottom of S tier. There we go, guys. I think that's the list. I think that's where we're gonna finish this off. Do you guys agree with the list? Am I a lunatic? Is this, blasphemy, right? I like my list. Personally, I feel like the A tiers are right where they belong. B tiers, I think a lot of us can agree the ending of Wano was a little bit anticlimactic. We got closure, I guess, but it felt so rushed. But again, at the same time, we were just dying to leave Wano already, so. And then 1061 was pretty good, but it's kind of hard to say it was amazing or had really amazing moments. It was just a very, enjoyable chapter. It was good. It was a good read. It could jump up to the bottom of A, but, I don't want to keep these two guys too lonely. Anyway, guys, that's our ranking. That's our tier list. The post-hiatus chapters of One Piece. What do you guys think? These are my rankings. We're all set. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. More One Piece content coming soon. And check out my last chapter review while you're at it. Take care, guys. Peace.